Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and I am starting today with a massive spoiler warning. I woke up this morning, and I was just pissed about a news feed. I'm not a fan of The Walking Dead anymore. I have gone on record as that. I used to enjoy the show at times. I thought it became filler. I have read parts of the comics of the Appendium, and I've read sort of the first two volumes, and I appreciate what it is, but the show just turned me off from it. That said, I respect Robert Kirkman. I think it was a brilliant concept. I like what he did, but I am not a fan. But I do like to casually watch and see what happened with the source material. Where did it go? I am curious. And I understand a lot of fans are, but there are also a lot of fans that like to read the comics and stay tuned to the show and be surprised. And the creators like to surprise their audiences. And we as a society of newsmakers and influencers and just impatient people that need to get the word out can sometimes really ruin a fan's experience. And that happened yesterday for a lot of Walking Dead fans. So I want to warn you in advance, before I even get to my frustration and talk about the story, I'm giving you a polite heads up that I am going to massively ruin a spoiler in the Walking Dead franchise. So if you don't want to even risk it or know about what happens in the show or the books or whatever, tune out now. You've been pleasantly warned, okay? You've been warned. I think everyone has deserved that courtesy. Otherwise, we are just shitheads, and we just want to ruin things for people, and I just refuse to do that in this channel. I'm constantly trying to figure out what the voice of this channel is. I'm trying to just become more genuine, and I'm trying to reveal more stuff about what happened to me and other things and take accountability for things. All of that's coming soon as I prepare it. But in the meanwhile, there's one thing I will never do. I will never spoil shit. That is just lowest common denominator in this space, and I think it's the worst clickbait in the world. So you have a promise from me. I will never do it. I will always warn you, and I will always give you this time to do it. And I hope every news outlet does, and that's why I'm just pissed about this subject. But I'm going to talk about it. So you've been warned. If you don't want to know about Walking Dead's today's spoilers, yesterday's spoilers, tune out. All right? So those of you sticking around, you're like me. You're a casual viewer that wants to know. So you've been alerted. Well, there's a spoiler. What is it? Well, Robert Kirkman warned all of the people, his fans, to stay off social media because something was coming. And for those who've been reading, last issue, they killed off Rick Grimes. Now, for those of you who are watching the show, well, didn't they kill him off in the show ages ago? Well, they did, but he's coming back in movies, and the show and the comics don't always align. But last issue, they assassinated him, and he was dead. All right? Well, turns out this new issue that the news outlets were reporting a couple days before it came out, apparently this issue, 193, is not just a spoiler moment of a big character moment, it's the final issue of the series. That's right. Walking Dead now as a comic is over, and it came out of nowhere. People are shocked. That is legitimately news. But what was so impressive to me as a viewer and fan of just material and stuff, like Kirkman purposely made 2 misleading issues that were on deck to be released in the summer. He had this whole plan. He knew this all along. He was planning this drop, and he wanted fans of his book who were readers to find out themselves in the comic that it was ending. And I applaud him for it. Like, bravo. But of course, instead of that being able to happen, what happens? The news outlets finds out immediately. It started here with Bleeding Cool. This is the Bleeding Cool article. And to them, kudos. They did at least give I don't know if they adjusted this later, but on July 1st, before the comic was even available to be out, they talk about Walking Dead spoilers. Now, they do a huge warning, so I'm going to give them props. At least they did that. But of course, once that happens, everybody reports on it, and they did. Coming stunning ending, blah 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 blah. These were canned. It's craziness, and all of these outlets just ran with the story, didn't give a crap about the fans and who might be able to read it. They just wanted to react to it immediately because technically, let's be honest, it is news. But the fact is the creator wanted it to be a surprise. And it seems like Endgame and Spider-Man, everyone gives the courtesy of letting the movie come out. Why didn't we give the audience of the comics the courtesy of not revealing massive spoiler before it came out? Comic came out today. For a lot of people, it came out yesterday. And so let them have a chance to read it first. My God. And instead, all of these outlets yesterday were just completely Walking Dead comic book is ending tomorrow. Like, that's just mean. It's just shitty. It's just stupid. Why? Why do you need to do this as outlets? It's just so... What are we becoming as a movie news society where we have to react to that immediately? It's just not cool. It makes me very angry and it makes me pissed. So that's my rant for the beginning of this episode. Now, of course, once I heard the news, because I don't read the comics and I don't care that much, I wanted to hear what happened. I wanted to know, how does it end? So I'm going to go and share that with you. For those of you who clearly don't care about spoiling the show, and I know there's a lot of you who don't, that's fair. But, to the people who did not want to be spoiled, we shouldn't spoil it for them. We should give them the opportunity to tune out before the spoilers happen. But if you're like me and you wanted to know what happens, let's read on and see, because every outlet and their brother reported on this and told us what was going to happen. I read here, the Hollywood Reporter put together a sort of a summation of things and catches up what happens. Rick Grimes was assassinated. And then there was another huge time jump into the future. And Carl, who is not dead in the comics, which sounds way cooler for the record, way cooler that they didn't just kill him off like they did in the show, which apparently even the actor, Chandler Riggs, wasn't into. There was points where his parents were trying to get out because he wanted to go to school and they were trying to figure out. And I think it sounds like there was just turmoil behind the scenes and they just wanted him out. But whatever, it didn't seem like anyone was really that happy, and they didn't even do it well. That's where I was tuning out of the show because I just didn't care anymore. Anyway, in the comics, Carl's still very much alive. He didn't die there, and he's a grown man with Sophia. Also didn't get killed in the comics, although that was one of the best twists in the TV show for sure, even though that whole season on the farm could have been 2 episodes, let's be honest. But anyway, so Sophia and Carl are now a couple, and they have a daughter, fittingly named Andrea. Okay, that's cute. They live in a farm far away from highly functional version of Alexandra, safe zone where walkers have not been an active threat for years. Okay, interesting. That does seem like we're giving us closure. And all the more reason why Carl's furious when a walker roams onto his land, having escaped a traveling roadshow led by Herschel Rhee, the now adult son of Maggie and the late Glenn. Carl finds himself on a trial for killing the walker, which now technically was Herschel's property. He's sparred from punishment thanks to Maggie, the president of the safe zone, who is accused by Carl and others of babying Herschel to a dangerous degree. All of this sounds fascinating, a world where now the threat is gone, and he went that far to sort of show us what would the threat be like after that, when people are sort of normalized and the zombies are gone and people don't remember the threats that they all lived. Interesting dialogue, interesting history and place to go, so I'm into that. And so after that, sorry, I just spaced up. After that happens, he kills the walker, is the bottom line. He kills the walker, and like his father's before him, Carl acts as Vision of Justice and decides to destroy all of Herschel's walkers. He heads out into a long scavenging mission, and when he returns, he's once again on trial, except this time he stands for the highest court in the community, presided over by famous face Michonne, who's also still alive, now known as Judge Hawthorne. The first time her last name has been revealed. Ooh, so she was Michonne Hawthorne. Carl makes a passionate pitch about the need to not minimize the walker threat. Even if the new young generation of survivors hasn't had to endure such terrors, Michonne sides with Carl and clears him of any wrongdoing, allowing him to return to his family without any further consequences. And the last scenes of the issue are Carl, all grown up, reading a story with his daughter about Rick and telling her about his grandfather and begrudgingly admitting all that he did and that he's a hero. And I think that is that's kind of beautiful. Wow, he ended it kind of happy. We're in a world now where they don't have to worry about that threat. They're rebuilding. Carl has conflict about whether Rick was a hero or not, because Rick did a lot of questionable things, but he's going to allow that legacy to live on. I don't know. I think that's pretty touching. Then Kirkman followed up with a final letter, just because the audience was clearly going to be surprised seeing the end on the screen, and wrote this. This is the end of The Walking Dead. That's it. It's over. We're done. I'm sure you have a million questions, and I'm sure you feel as emotional about this as we do, if not more so. I'm completely willing to bet some of you are angry over this. I get it. I do. I mean, why didn't we announce this so that fans would have some time to prepare? Well, personally, I hate knowing what's coming. As a fan, I hate it when I realize I'm in the third act of a movie and the story is winding down. I hate that I can count commercial breaks and know I'm nearing the end of a TV show. And I hate that you can feel when you're getting to the end of a book or a graphic novel. I wholeheartedly agree with him. I've done that a million times. Bravo, Kirkman. You're right. Some of the best episodes of Game of Thrones are where they're structured in such a way and paced to perfection so your brain can't tell if it's been watching for 15 minutes or 50 minutes. And when the end comes, you're stunned. Also, he's correct. He's correct whether you want to admit it or not. That is true. That is good storytelling. I love long movies for that very reason. You lose track of time because you went in convinced that you're going to be there for a long time, but the story moves at such an entertaining and engaging pace that by the end, the movie's wrapping up, you can't believe it's already over. Surprise, it's over. All I've ever done, all a creator can really do, is tailor make stories to entertain themselves and hope the audience feels the same way. That's all I've ever been doing, and it seems to work most of the time. The Walking Dead has always been built on surprise, not knowing what's going to happen when you turn the page, who's going to die, how they're going to die. It's been essential to the success of the series. It's been the lifeblood that's keeping it going all these years, keeping people engaged. I just felt wrong and against the very nature of this series not to make the actual end as surprising as the big deaths, from Shane all the way to Rick. To be honest, it seemed like a really good idea at the time, but now that we're here and the series is over, I'm having second thoughts. Not so much that I'm changing course. That would be kind of impossible to do anyway, but it's possible, as much as I hate to admit it, that I'm genuinely feeling a sense of regret over this whole crazy plan. Now, look, I applaud Kirkman. Now, some are going to be angry, but I think that's a really smart, beautiful way, and it's how the creator envisioned it. And whether you like it or not, he's in charge. He should be able to see how the series goes, how the series ends. It shouldn't just be bought out and moved. The person who created the material should be able to finish it the way they want to finish it. And I kind of like it. I think that's a good fitting way. Now, I don't know what's been leading up. I did read some theories and fans that are upset because they feel like the events leading up to Rick weren't powerful enough to be ending the series on, and this felt like just sort of a big jump to sort of wrap things up. That may be true for certain fans, and I'm sure it's going to be polarizing for others and satisfying for the rest. So that's a good ending does that. A good ending is never perfect. Because if a good ending is perfect, that means you wanted it to end. And that's not, you always want to leave with a little bit of regret because you want to be like, oh man, I wish they had just done this, or why didn't they do that? It just means it stayed with you in a way that worked. And so I think this sounds like a good ending. I think this sounds like a worthy, finally, it went somewhere. There's closure. The zombies are gone. They couldn't be threats forever. How many new societies can start wars? It's been going for a long time. The TV show is clearly starting to do that already. People are noticing the ratings are going down as they make more and more spin-offs to sort of beat this dead horse, if you will. This undead horse, as long as AMC wants to. I think Kirkman made the right decision. I applaud his attempt to surprise, and I am legitimately triggered and angered by all the news outlets that just had to add Walking Dead has ended in their subjects. That's just shitty. It's stupid. It's shitty, and people should be called out for it because it's just bad. It's just mean. Whether you're a fan or not. Massive Walking Dead spoiler. I'm trying to do that in my title. Revealed. That's what you can do. It allows me as a fan to be like, oh, I'm tuning out. I'm not clicking that. I don't want to go there. And it allows the rest of the fans to be like, I don't care. I want to know what the spoiler is. But then we as a society, once we learn the spoiler, we have to go spoil everybody else. Spoil, spoil, spoil. And it's just maddening. It sucks. I don't like it, and I'm mad. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I don't like that they do it. What do you think? Do spoilers like that? Even just the idea of 'cause I feel like sometimes with Spider-Man, which we're going to do a spoiler review soon, but I saw an article on Slash Film, and even they were guilty of this. I like Slash Film a lot, and even they said, only 1 day's notice, Walking Dead canceled. That's still ruining it. A lot of articles were still, outlets were doing articles, and I contemplated this story, but the article headline was that Falcon's Captain America does not appear in Spider-Man Far From Home. And I don't know, that sounds like a spoiler to me. Didn't you want to go in to see if he's in there or not and not be told who's not in it? These types of reporting and these types of stories are just getting so out of hand. And I want to try my best to not do that. And sorry for coughing into the mic. I'm finally getting over this cough and this voice, but it's still happening, so apologies. But I think we have a due diligence as news reporters and people to not spoil things for other people. That's just where the line is. We as a society need to be respectful of people and fandoms and make sure they don't get it ruined. And I implore you, don't go take what you learned in this video and spoil it to others. And to outlets out there, if you're watching, come on, be better than that. You can report news without spoiling the news in your header just to get a click. And you're not going to get that many clicks. Everybody's reporting it. I'm not going to get clicks on this, just like everyone else is not going to get clicks. It's just about who's reporting it. What outlet do you support? What outlet do you trust? What outlet do you want to hear that take from? And so that's my take on this. I'm still not a Walking Dead fan, but I do have to applaud Kirkman for ending it the way he wants to end it. I applaud him for going out in a blaze of glory. And I hope he doesn't have regrets. He shouldn't have regrets. Even if fans are mad at him, don't read them. Embrace what you did. You should be proud of what you did. And bravo, this sounds like a fitting ending to the series. I hope the AMC series wises up and ends that soon. Because if they stopped and ended for a while and then came back and revisited the world, that's something you can do. The comics did it. They came back later. Pause. Leave. Let the show live a little, and then it's a franchise that's allowed to come back with new threats and people older and wiser, and the audience will remember. And there's nostalgia that's clearly working for Disney all year. They're bringing everything back. Take a break from Walking Dead. Don't just add 10 more series. End it. And then in 6 years, 10 years, God forbid, 20 years, come back. Those characters are older, and now we're even in a grittier, more apocalyptic version that's different from the comics. So I will watch. I will give it a shot again because you're trying something new. You've taken a pause. You've allowed the world to grow. That's opportunity. So I hope that's what we start doing with this show. I hope it winds down, and bravo again to Kirkman. What do you think? Are you glad it's over? Did you read it? Was it spoiled for you? Are you pissed? Tell me all your thoughts down in the comments below. I would appreciate them. And please stay tuned for more daily videos here around 1 o'clock every day, weekday, and live Wednesday tonight, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much. Bye.